Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel, and I'm here to talk about Supernatural episode 1117 titled Red Meat, which premiered Wednesday, March 30th, 2016 on the CW. And guys, what an episode. Oh my gosh. I mean, the promo itself gets you worried for sure. But let's get started with the 10-minute clock and let's begin. Something new we learned in this episode. Well, this episode we're dealing with pureblood werewolves. These are the werewolves that can shift at any time. No full moon restrictions for them. So, kind of remember Garth from 9/12. I believe is the last time we dealt with pureblood werewolves, so let's put your little thoughts back on that. Also in this episode, we see flip-flops between present day and 48 hours earlier for Sam and Dean. So right off the bat in the episode, you see the fight that Sam and Dean are in with the werewolves as they try to save civilians Corbin and Michelle. It's basically the sneak peek clip that the CW released before the episode aired. And in this clip, you see Sam getting shot by a werewolf. And then cut to black. All that. So then, rest of the episode deals with Sam and Dean trying to get Corbin and Michelle out of there since there are more werewolves coming while Sam is dealing with his gunshot wound. Since Dean refuses to leave Sam behind, while Dean is out getting wood for a fire to help build up the heat with Sam and an injured Michelle, Corbin strangles Sam so that when Dean comes back and sees Sam dead, Dean has no other choice but to leave Sam behind and get Corbin and Michelle to safety. Sorry, I still have my cough. Little does Corbin know that just because Sam is dead means that Dean is going to fight to the death, not caring if he lives or dies. So, which is what we saw. But during the fight between Sam and Corbin, Sam sees a bite on Corbin's arm before he's knocked out of the game. So therefore, Corbin is eventually going to turn into a werewolf. So there's that. So with Sam dead, like I said, Dean now has to focus on Corbin and Michelle after Corbin uses Dean's conscience to help get Michelle to safety since she's the one that's the weakest link for them. So back at the hospital, we see Michelle get checked on. We see Dean get checked on because he was tasered by a cop he had punched out who had refused the fact that Dean leaves to go get Sam. And Corbin is experiencing the werewolf transformation while at the hospital. So, reeling with the fact that Sam's dead, Dean overdoses so that he could see Billy the Reaper to try to strike a deal. But this is where he learns that Sam isn't even dead, but Dean is close to dying himself. Thankfully, he's pulled back and revived thanks to the doctor. But Billy has made her point very clear about them having no second chances anymore. And they're going to be sent strictly to the empty, as she called it. So, meanwhile, Sam wakes up from having his body going into shock, which is what gave off the vitals of him basically being dead. And while he tries to get back to the Impala, Sam manages to kill the werewolves tracking him before stealing their car and then driving it back to the Impala, and then from the Impala calling Dean because that was where the signal cuts out. So, after getting a brief call to Dean, he manages to drive to the hospital, but he wasn't able to warn Dean about Corbin. But Sam does get to the hospital in time to kill Corbin, who is strangling Dean at the moment. Sorry. So, that's what happens. Pretty much. So, what was the most shocking moment of the episode? Corbin killing Sam. Actually, is it still called killing him since Sam wasn't dead? But I guess I'll put quote-unquote around killing. That was surprising in itself. I thought Sam was just going to die and bleed out from the gunshot wound based off the promo. No idea that the very civilian that he was trying to save was the one who actually killed him. I mean, really? I did love, though, the fact that his plan to kill Sam so that Dean had no choice but to help them to safety backfired him because Dean was willing to stay and fight the werewolves that were coming for them while dead Sam was still in the room. So, I did like that. It was like, haha, fool you, Corbin. You killed the one thing that motivated Dean to keep on living. And, yeah. So, it was Michelle who actually, I think, was able to convince Dean to help get them to safety. So there's that. So what was the top 3 favorite moments of the episode for me? First one was Sam fighting through his gunshot wound as he killed 2 werewolves and then drove to the Impala and then drove to the hospital to save Dean. I mean, always keep fighting campaign from Jared Padalecki truly applies to Sam in this episode for sure, in a very prominent way. Forget the fact that they're always fighting as they keep on forward against Mara, against every supernatural hunter, but in this case, Sam is truly fighting to survive as he fights the gunshot wound that he has in his stomach. So I thought that was pretty impressive, and it really had me cheering for Sam, and it truly showed that you can't keep him down for sure, or keep him away from the fight unless he's truly dead. Next favorite moment for me has to be Dean refusing to go with Billy after learning that Sam is still alive. I'm glad that he was able to still have enough fight left in him to go back to his body, which essentially is, at least, I was very glad that Dean's body still had enough fight in him so that the doctor was able to actually revive him again. So I really like that for sure. And I hope Dean doesn't do that again, though. By that again, I mean sacrificing and almost killing himself like that again. Next favorite moment for me has to be, which is weird though, is Corbin's inability to stay in a certain state. Corbin was unable to stay as a fully human or as a full werewolf after he started with the transformation. Now, normally, transformations like these would totally creep me out, and I don't like them. What I liked about it was the fact that it showed how a new werewolf, such as Corbin, had no control over his state of transformation. He had part of his hand transformed, and yet his whole body was still human, or he had his eyes and fangs out, but other parts of him were still human. That's what I liked about it. The fact that they didn't immediately show him shifting all the way and then shifting all the way back, and then that was it. That was his first transformation. What I liked about the fact was that as a new werewolf, he should not have any control over how far into his transformation he can go or how far he can stay out of it and stuff like that. So what I liked is how they showed that, even though it creeped me out. I hope that made sense. Now, top 3 peeved moments. This one's a major one because it's a recurring theme over in the series, and that is something which I like because it's a consistent, constant character trait, but it's the fact that Dean does not hesitate to sacrifice himself once Sam is dead. I mean, it's not surprising, but I thought by this point, by 11 years worth of, well, 11 years for us, but it's like supposed to be 13 years for Sam and Dean, that Dean would have learned by now not to do this. Although it's pretty hard to have it still ingrained in him for the 30 years of his life to not react this way. I mean, first off, Dean refuses to leave Sam when Sam believes he's dying by the Croatoan virus back in episode 209. Dean making a demon deal the moments after Sam is dead back in episode 221 and 222. Dean getting ready and accepting to be shot and killed moments after Sam was shot in the chest back in episode 516, which prompted him to go to heaven for that trip to find Joshua. But anyways, and then also Dean almost killing himself, like in this episode, so that he can go see Death about getting Sam's soul back in episode 611. I mean, it's like the moment Sam stopped breathing is the moment that Dean stops too. As if all the fight in Dean is just gone and he's willing to die because Sam is no longer there. I mean, that's what irritates me is the fact that Dean still hasn't learned. But then it's also a favorite of mine because this is still a part of Dean. It's still consistent with who he is and how he was brought up. It's not like he did this one thing and then that's it. They never brought reference back to it. But for this, it's a constant thing. And I just thought with Sam always making a point of them trying to do things differently, that this might have been something that Dean would do differently, but apparently that's not the case. So that's the only really peeved part I got about it, was the fact that time and time again, it's no surprise if Sam dies, then Dean's gonna find either some way to bring him back, or he's gonna stop fighting for himself. That's the only peeve, I guess you could say. And moving on, but what was the moment that I remember most in this episode? The fact that Sam fought to survive as hard as he did while he was out in those woods against the werewolves by himself and trying to get back to Dean. And back to a healthier state, I guess you could say. Now, moving on to random questions. Number 1, where is Tessa the Reaper? I don't mind seeing Billy the Reaper, but I just feel that Tessa would be more compassionate towards Dean, concerning all the history with them. While Billy's more like of a a straight shooter, not going to take your bullshit or anything. If you're dead, you're coming with me type thing. No weaseling out of it type thing. Well, Tessa's more like a, well, circumstances are different, I'll help you out with this type thing. So I'm just wondering, where is she? I'm missing her. And maybe she wouldn't throw the boys into the empty once they're dead. Maybe she'd give them a second chance, unlike Billy the Reaper over there. There's a timer. Alright, last question. If the roles were reversed, if Dean was shot instead of Sam in this episode, do you think that the episode would have played out differently? Would Sam have reacted differently to Dean supposedly being dead, or would he be more suspicious and still stay by Dean's side? What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments below. I want to know if it would actually change things in how the episode unfolded. Now, predictions. Based off the promo for 11/18, we see Crowley, Lucifer, who's still possessing Castiel, and we see Amara again. So it's great to see those three back in an episode, let alone together in an episode. Not saying scenes, mind you, but still featured in an episode. That's great. But based off the synopsis, though, we see Lucifer returning to heaven, and we also see Crowley telling the Winchesters of a way to stop Amara. No clue if it's going to be a legit plan, but we'll have to wait and see. Overall predictions, though, I think that Sam is going to find out about Dean almost killing himself so that he could talk to Billy the Reaper about making a deal to get Sam back. Also, I still think we're going to see God at some point. I hope we do. I would be disappointed if we don't, especially since Amara is his sister. And hopefully we see Michael too in some way, shape, or form. Hopefully it's in the form of a familiar face for us. But like I said, if they truly resolve this whole Amara thing within the one season, I don't think I'm going to be as satisfied, because of the fact that she is this huge biblical evil that she deserves to be more than 2 seasons, or more than a season. She deserves to have at least 2 seasons, just like the Yellow-Eyed Demon had 2 seasons, just like Lucifer had 2 seasons. Amara definitely deserves to be a 2-season type of villain, for sure. And that's about it. So what did you guys think of the episode? What did you guys like about it? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your own thoughts, theories, and opinions about this episode and what you think is going to happen next in the remaining episodes of the season. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. Also, if you want a more detailed recap of the episode, check out my live journal account. The entry for that with the link is down below. It's more of a play-by-play recap of what happened in the episode, as well as my in-moment thoughts while I watched the episode the first time around. Also, if you want more news about Supernatural, whether it's promos, sneak peeks, web clips, quotes, GIFs, dialogue, GIFs, synopses, anything like that, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that will be down below for this episode specifically, as well for all Supernatural related tags. Check that out if you want, or if you want to follow if I cover any of the shows you're interested in, go check that out. And that's about it. Thank you guys for tuning in. I truly appreciate it. So sorry for the delay on all my videos. Reality has just gotten so swamped to the point that it's tiring me out. Therefore, I can't dedicate my free time to making these videos. So hopefully this week, with the ending of my online course is coming to a close and the event at work finally ending, I can hopefully get back on track. So bear with me, guys. Hopefully I'll be on schedule again. But thank you again for tuning in. I hope you come back next week to see what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, this is Mel wishing you a great day, great week wherever you are. Bye for now.